In September of 2025, I set out to photograph remarkable landscapes in Western America. Wonders, monuments, memorials, battlegrounds, Badlands. Majestic Mesa Falls, Idaho. Devil's Tower, Wyoming, the first national monument in America. Rising 867 feet above the Black Hills, this colossal monolith, made of huge columns of rare crystallized igneous rock, is a holy place, sacred to the Lakota, Arapaho, Cheyenne, Crow, Kiowa, and many other Indian tribes. In 1941, George Hopkins, a wiry professional parachutist, made a $50 daredevil bet. Jumping from an airplane, he skillfully and safely landed atop the football field-sized summit of Devil's Tower, planning to use a 1,000-foot rope to climb down. But the rope and a subsequent rope drop to him fell uselessly awry. He spent 6 days alone on the treacherous pinnacle, while the Forest Service orchestrated an elite climbing expedition from Dartmouth College to fetch him down. He won the bet. Crossing the Little Bighorn River in desperate retreat, Major Marcus Reno, with what remained of his 140 men, made their way up these ravines, under fire, seeking the safety of higher ground. It was June 25, 1876. Reno was under the command of General George Armstrong Custer, who had divided the 7th Cavalry into 3 detachments. Reno was to attack the Lakota village from the south. Captain Benteen's men were to scout out the Indian encampments, while Custer planned to attack from the north. I heard the alarm, but I did not believe it. I thought it was a false alarm. I did not think it possible that any white men would attack us, so strong as we were. Lodog, Oglala Lakota. The remains of about 220 soldiers, scouts, and civilians are buried around the base of this memorial. The white marble headstones scattered over the battlefield denote where the slain troopers were found and originally buried. Custer thought he would fight hundreds. Instead, he faced thousands, armed with superior rifles as well as with bows, arrows, and hatchets. Never could he form offensive lines, for the Indians seemed to grow from the ground in countless numbers, skillfully attacking from the advantage of the natural cover of the undulating hills. Bear with Horns fell here on June 25, 1876, while defending the Lakota way of life. The general of the combined Indian nations was Chief Gall of the Unkpapa Sioux. He said, "When Reno and Custer separated, we watched them until they came down into the valley. Our people cried, 'The white soldiers are coming!' Reno swept down so rapidly that the Indians were forced to fight. Sitting Bull and I were at the point where Reno attacked. Sitting Bull was Big Medicine Man. The squaws and children we moved down where the Cheyennes were camped. The women and children caught the horses for the bucks to mount. The Sioux attacked Reno and the Cheyennes Custer, then all mixed together." From across the river I could hear the music of the bugle and could see the column of soldiers turn to the left to march down to the river where the attack was to be made. All I could see was the warriors of my people. They rushed like the wind through the village. Mrs. Spotted Horn Bull. Riding down this ravine, Custer led his 3 companies to raid the Lakota village from the north. Pinned down, Reno and Benteen were some 3 or 4 miles distant. We hurriedly crossed the river, and some went up and some went down, to get on each side of where the soldiers were intending to come. Custer came to the edge and stopped. Then almost in an instant the guns commenced to go, increasing to a roar like thunder. 2 moons, northern Cheyenne. Such was the end of Custer's offensive. Near the Little Bighorn, he was driven up the hills to where he made his last stand. On Fame's eternal camping ground, their silent tents are spread, and glory guards with solemn round the bivouac of the dead. It was Paul who wrote, "Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty." Edwin Markham once said that man comes a pilgrim of the universe. To enter this park, this other world, is to feel that which we have seen and have long forgotten, but in seeing our veiled memories somehow remember. The prophet Joseph wrote, "While we meditated upon these things, the Lord touched the eyes of our understandings, and they were opened. And the glory of the Lord shone round about, and we beheld the glory of the Son, that by him and through him and of him the worlds are and were created, and the inhabitants thereof are begotten sons and daughters unto God. That he came into the world, even Jesus, to be crucified for the world, and to bear the sins of the world, and to sanctify the world, and to cleanse it from all unrighteousness. Wherefore let no man glory in man, but rather let him glory in God, who shall subdue all enemies under his feet." In just over 3 decades, close to 500,000 pioneers passed by Independence Rock on their way to new homes on the frontier. To leave evidence of their passage, thousands of names were inscribed on the rock using chisels, axle grease, paint, and tar. Also, memorial plaques have been placed on the rock in tribute to stalwart pioneers who traversed the Oregon, California, and Mormon trails, all sharing Independence Rock in common. The nearby Sweetwater River was a welcome sight to thirsty travelers. I photographed an old bridge crossing of the Sweetwater. A landmark sign reads, "The Long Valley was part of an east-west passageway through the Rockies, used by Native Americans and fur trappers, followed at mid-century by wagon train and handcart immigrants." Devil's Gate is the notch in the low mountains, clearly seen from Independence Rock in the glorious sunset. The old trail traversed the little valley just east of Devil's Gate, as shown here. The Sweetwater River flows right through Devil's Gate, a beautiful canyon to hike on a fall day. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints hosts a visitor center at the Sun Ranch at Devil's Gate, a National Historic Landmark. At the center, artifacts, sculptures, and poignant presentations tell the story of the 1856 Martin Handcart Company, consisting of 500 Latter-day Saint immigrants from the British Isles. While still 330 miles from their destination of Salt Lake City, the immigrants were caught in early winter snows and sought shelter in a meager retreat nestled in the hills near the trail. This site later became known as Martin's Cove. However, strong northerly winds flattened their tents on the first night, while relentless snows continued for 5 more days, from November 4th through the 9th. Tragic dominoes fell upon the poor souls, from leaving England late to the October 19th snowstorm. Suffering, they encamped in the bitter cold for days, with little food, fires kindled by wood from a small abandoned fort. Rescuers were sent from far-off Salt Lake City by Brigham Young, men who imperiled their own lives to save the stranded and starving immigrants. It was a small vanguard of these deliverers who helped the Martin Company across the icy Sweetwater to the Cove, where they awaited a break in weather. Setting out again, they soon were met with wagons. No longer did they walk barefoot, but rode wondrously the 300 miles to safety, arriving in the valley of the Great Salt Lake on the last day of November. The clear blue waters of Bear Lake and the brilliant aspens in the surrounding mountains are delightful in autumn. A few photographs taken in Yellowstone. A gray wolf walks past me heedlessly. However, his friend, less than 10 feet from where I stood, eyed me down unblinkingly. Good thing I was behind a pane of glass in the Grizzly Center. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this photographic essay, please subscribe to my channel.